Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's episode, I am joined by incoming senior in the Dartmouth women's hockey team, Jenna Donohue. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Jenna, and how's everything going?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Everything's really good. Just enjoying my summer so far. Have a little internship that I'm doing at home, remotely, and doing a lot of skating and training. There's actually a 4-on-4 hockey league for like college girls and incoming college players, some good prep school players in Connecticut. And I do that twice a week, and that's just a good kind of way to keep getting the game like scenarios in while also having fun with the
Yeah.
sports.
We'll talk a bit more about how your summer's been going since the season ended. And do you have anything else planned outside of hockey that's interesting to note?
Yeah, so it was nice for about a couple weeks. I finally had a nice long break, but I was still keeping active. But I finally got back on the ice middle of June, and then the league started up. So I've basically just been skating, hanging out with friends. I'm actually going to Bermuda this summer with my family, which is going to be a really fun trip. But other than that, just trying to relax a little bit and get ready for the season.
Nice. Well, I hope that you have a fun time in Bermuda. I've never been to the Caribbean islands before, so I can't really give you any advice of what that's like.
Yeah, it's really nice. We actually go every summer, but it's definitely very expensive there, but it's very nice. The water is really clear and just a really good experience.
Well, in regards to your hockey training, what is something that you want to work on for next season that you're trying to improve on during the summer?
Yeah, so I think it's really important, especially in college hockey, just being quick rather than just fast. I think that having a quicker first step is really important and something I want to develop in my game this summer. And also just being able to change my shot angle and try to not get as many shots blocked. Just try to make more plays with the puck. And I have a lot of good mentors this summer that have been already helping me with the skill development part.
Being a senior next season, what type of leadership do you want to bring to the team? Would you consider yourself more of a vocal leader or lead by example type of player?
Yeah, so I'd actually say I like a mix of both, but I do really try my best to lead by example, both on and off the ice, and try to be a mentor, especially for the incoming freshmen. But definitely on the ice, I would say I'm pretty vocal. That's just how I am, like trying to work on positivity, but also being very like out there leader and just very vocal, but also just not being able to talk without the action. So I think that's a huge part, and that's been a big thing for our team this year, and also for something that I want to work on.
Now, your schedule isn't out yet, but do you know who some of your non-conference games are going to be yet? And have you had the chance to sort of meet any of your incoming freshman class?
Yeah, I think that we're playing. I know UNH is one of them. I think we're playing Post. Um, Concordia is an exhibition game. Assumption. I know we have a good handful of them, but our schedule's being solidified now, so I think it should be out soon. Um, but actually, I know I know one really well, Hamilton Doster. She went to Loomis. We actually didn't overlap. Um, but I skate with her all summer. She's on the 4-on-4 team with me. And she's just a great addition to the team. And I'm definitely gonna help her as best I can. And we've actually had someone from Loomis come in every single year for the past like 5 years. So it's definitely gonna be nice to just have that kind of like tradition keep going on. So
Well, I sort of want to transition now and talk about the beginning of your hockey career and sort of work all the way up to where you are today. So, doing research on yourself, it says that you're from South Salem, New York. Talk about growing up there and how did you start playing hockey?
yeah, so I always watched hockey as a kid when I was like literally not even knowing what the sport was. And I was so interested in it, but I would always ask my parents if I could play, and they always said no. They thought I was going to get hurt and stuff. So I did play lacrosse when I was younger. So I went to a clinic one day, and apparently I was talking about hockey the whole time. And one of the instructors was like, "Did you just talk about hockey?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I love it. It's awesome." And then he was like, "I can get you a set of equipment and like I can get you on the ice tomorrow." So my parents finally said yes, and then I was like 8.5, I think, when I started playing. Um, but me and my parents have no regrets about it, and we're so happy for everyone we've met and everything that this sport has given us.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Definitely Henrik Lundqvist.
Are
He's my
you a Rangers fan?
big Ranger fan. Uh,
Nice, nice.
and I always wanted to be a goalie because of him, but didn't convince my parents of that one.
Yeah, those are pads are pretty expensive, so I sort of get where they're coming from there. But
Yeah,
how cool was it to see Hank get inducted to the Hockey Hall of Fame?
it was awesome. And just like, I'm so happy that he's still like within the NHL and he's like on the media for it and he does a lot of like interviews and in between the game type of stuff. And I'm just really glad that he's stuck with the NHL. Just like he deserves it so much. I wish he had a cup, but he's gotten everything else. So
Yeah. Well, I feel like he'll get one soon when he decides to join management or something like that. I feel like that's going to
yeah,
be works for him at some point.
I
But
hope
maybe he's a
so.
TV guy, who knows? But um, getting back to sort of your career now, before you played for Dartmouth, like you sort of alluded to, you played for Loomis Chaffee. Talk about your experience playing with that prep school.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I actually had no idea that people in the New England area went to prep school. So that was definitely a surprise to me. I remember getting recruited and one of the coaches was like, you have to go to prep school. So I was very hesitant at first, but Liz Leiden, who's been the coach there for a while, still is the coach. She is just a huge mentor for me. And I was very homesick in the beginning, and she helped me really get acclimated with the school, and just all the people were great. And a lot of great players, a lot of great people. And I think it's very similar to Dartmouth in that way. I feel like Dartmouth is kind of just a bigger version of Loomis, and a lot of people clearly go there from Loomis. But I think just my experience, like going away from home at such a young age, was definitely tough, but it made me grow so much. So I'm very fortunate for my time at Loomis.
What's your favorite memory you have from Loomis when you look back on it now?
Um, thinking, definitely thinking hockey wise, my senior year, we were playing Tabor in the quarterfinals, I think, and we were the 7th seed and they were the 2 seed. And we were down 3-0 with, I think it was 8 minutes left in the third period. And then we ended up coming all the way back, um, tied it, and then won in overtime. And it was just like, it was the best game I've probably ever played in, that we won. So I thought that was just such a great accomplishment and just like prove that anything can happen, especially in the game. It just shows how the game is so great.
And just talk a little bit more about how your prep school hockey experience helped prepare you for college hockey with Dartmouth.
Yeah, kind of like I said before, Dartmouth is really similar to Loomis in a lot of aspects, and just getting the practice every day, games on the weekends, and then you go to club on the weekends. And also the NEPSAC, which is the league that Loomis is in, is really reminds you of the ECAC, just a ton of competitive teams, ton of great players, great coaches, and it's just really helped the competitive nature from Loomis and just translated pretty easily to Dartmouth. And just the fact that I was away from home was helpful. It was only Dartmouth's like 2 extra hours away. Um, but yeah.
Now, what was your recruitment process like with Dartmouth, and what made you want to go there versus other schools you might have looked at?
Yeah, so kind of like what I said before, it was really similar to Loomis and it reminded me a lot about it. So I thought it would be a great opportunity and a great education. And it was a pretty good size campus. It wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. And obviously, a pretty good factor deciding for Dartmouth was the opportunity to play lacrosse too. So I thought that was definitely something that couldn't have been done at a lot of other schools, especially because some schools don't have very competitive lacrosse and hockey Division 1. So I really wanted to do that while getting a good education.
You have to get recruited separately for both sports and then the school makes it work, or is it something that it's sort of like coordinated amongst the coaches?
Yeah, so when I was getting recruited, you could start for hockey, you could start recruiting at like when you're pretty young. Like I pretty sure I committed freshman year, verbally committed. But for lacrosse, it wasn't until junior year where you could commit. So I was in contact with the lacrosse coach at the time, which is a different coach than now. And I was like, if I come here, can I be on the team? And she watched me play a couple of times. She was like, yes, like we'll make this work. We'll figure out how to do it. Um, and then so I committed to Dartmouth for hockey, technically. And then kind of was just saying like I'm also on the gonna be playing on the lacrosse team. And it wasn't until junior year where I could officially say that. And then we ended up getting a new hockey and lacrosse coach. And the lacrosse coach now, Alex McFadden, she coached at BC, which had Kenzie Kent, who played ice hockey and lacrosse. So it was actually fortunate about the coaching switch because she was able to handle it very well, and she still does, obviously.
Now, what was your sort of biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? Was it the speed of the game, the physicality, or just the less time and space you have with the puck to create plays?
Honestly, all of the above. Everything is just faster. Everyone's good. Like, there's no lapse in talent, there's no lapse in work ethic. Everyone is just so fast, physical, big, strong. Um, just being able to adjust to that, and especially basically starting my sophomore year was an even bigger adjustment since our team was also just very young, which all the other teams were too. But
Yeah, I do want to ask you about that because your freshman year got canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How'd you sort of handle the challenge of not playing that season? And what'd you do during that time period to get ready for the upcoming season, even with the restrictions and the uncertainty that you and your teammates faced?
yeah, so obviously COVID was difficult. um, we ended up, Dartmouth was pretty strict with COVID. I remember we didn't get to skate until the end of the fall term, which we could only skate with like four people on the ice, and we had to all wear masks. So it wasn't really, um, it was kind of weird. But then the freshmen got sent home for the winter. So I was fortunately able to skate with my old club coach, Bill Maniscalco, um, at Northford. So I was able to get like some skills then. And then lacrosse season ended up being canceled too. So that was another bummer, but it was definitely just helped get resilient and work in the summer for the next season once the rinks finally opened up again.
Well, I sort of want to go back to your lacrosse career for a little bit because I did find it very interesting that you're also part of the Dartmouth women's lacrosse team. So my question is, what's it like playing two sports in college, and how do you sort of balance that? And what's your experience been like with Dartmouth lacrosse for the years you've been there so far?
Yeah, I honestly think it's awesome being on both teams just because there's two completely different sets of people, and it's just a different experience in both sports. And I'm kind of the type of person that likes to be busy all the time and likes to be active and playing sports. And I really just didn't want to give up lacrosse because I loved it so much. But when I'm in hockey season, I'm purely focused on hockey, and then the same thing with lacrosse. And just not much downtime just helps me stay focused, and having a purpose and a balanced schedule. And obviously, the coaches on both ends help me ease the transition, and especially the strength and conditioning coach is the same for both, which has been really helpful, especially because he knows like a lot about like how I work and how I move, and just about both the sports. But I just think it's been a great experience, and like coming in late to the season, like a week late when they've prepared all year, it's just awesome to see how everyone's like work has shown in the games, and just getting to be a part of it is awesome.
So you can't play lacrosse until the hockey season's over? Because I think that would be cool if you played one game one Saturday and then played another game like that night or something like that.
Yeah, it would be cool, but technically not allowed to do that. It goes against NCAA
Oh,
violation.
really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but the closest I was we played Brown in our last regular season game, and then which was a Saturday, and then I took Sunday off, and then I was back on Monday to lacrosse.
Oh wow.
We had a game the next week that weekend, so that was fun.
I was
Um,
I
Go
was
ahead.
just reading somewhere where there's gonna be another incoming freshman that's also gonna be on the both women's hockey and lacrosse team. I don't know if you
Yeah,
were aware of that.
Ellie Morrison. She's from Minnesota. She's coming in next year. I actually think unfortunately she just got injured, but she's hopefully gonna be back soon. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be awesome to like show her the ropes, and she's already come to visit and she's had so many questions and she just seems really excited.
Now, getting back to hockey, what's it like playing in the ECAC and just the competition you face every weekend?
Yeah, I think the ECAC, in my opinion, is the toughest league in the NCAA. Just there's so many close games, so many like games where you don't know who's going to win, one goal games. I think that the ECAC, like I said before, reminds me of the knapsack. It's just you have so many great players and coaches and just experienced players and people from all over the world. And I just think all the teams are just so competitive, and there's not really a lapse in talent or success within the teams.
Now, how do you balance hockey and academics such a high level in an Ivy League university with the academic workload that you guys get?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. Also, like playing lacrosse, it just shows you that you have not much time, and it kind of helps me having the jam-packed schedule because you have to do it now. It doesn't give you time to slack off, and honestly, the classes are really interesting, and um, it's a liberal arts school, so you get to take other classes that aren't related to your major, and you get to take classes where you just get to like expand your knowledge, and they're usually very interesting. So that also keeps me motivated, and just having also the support of your friends and family and coaches.
Now, talk about your team's performance this past season and what'd you take away from it?
Yeah, I thought we definitely made some big steps as a team. Um, I think that the sophomores and the juniors were finally able to like hit our stride, especially after a full season back from COVID. And I think we had some very close games and some very good wins. And I think that next year our goal is to turn those one goal games into going our way, which I think we can definitely do that. And we were more bought in this year, and we were really competitive in every single game we played in. And it translated from practice and our off ice work. So
Now, talk about the biggest improvement you think you've made to your game so far in college hockey from your, I guess, the beginning of your sophomore year to now.
yeah, I think that I have gotten more used to the physicality and learned how to use my body in a way that like gets me to the net more, and I feel like my ability to make plays has heightened just because you're finally used to the speed and you're used to making decisions quicker, and just being able to adapt to both the speed and the physicality I think has been um, really important.
Any big hits yet? I know technically it's not allowed, but I see it happen sometimes, so I gotta ask.
Oh, definitely. I've definitely had some big hits, probably led to a penalty. I'm usually in the box a good amount,
Hmm.
but I've definitely had some big hits on me too. But
What's the biggest hit you've ever given, and then what's the biggest hit you've ever received in college?
so I'll go with the received one first. I got hit really hard. I think it was against I want to say I want to say Brown, but I think that's wrong. I don't know. It was at a home game, and this girl wrecked me, and it was like right in the head. It was like an elbow, but she only got
Hmm.
2 minutes. Oh no, it was Union. It was Union. They're a very physical team. But I don't have any specific hits that I can think of, but I'm like usually every game I'm throwing my body.
Yeah. I
Trying
wish they,
not to get penalties though.
yeah, I wish they did allow hitting in women's hockey. I think it would make the game more entertaining because obviously I feel like it wouldn't be. I feel like people think when they if they allowed hitting in women's hockey, it would be like 1970s NHL where it's like goons and stuff. I just feel like it wouldn't be that way. I think it would just make the game more entertaining to watch, and I feel like I don't know, it'd be more exciting to see some of those big hits happen in women's hockey because I feel like you guys are capable of doing it. I just don't understand why they won't let you do it.
No, I agree with that. I feel like the refs have, like, some refs are more lenient with it and let things go, especially if some teams are just so big and like they're physical the whole entire game. But I agree with you. I think that there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to hit, and I don't think it will lead to that many more injuries, especially because it's not like girls hitting guys or guys hitting girls. It's just girls hitting girls. So I think it would definitely be an interesting rule change if that ever got by. But
Now, one thing you mentioned was you dealt with a coaching transition in the middle of your collegiate career. How'd you sort of handle that, and what's it been like sort of transitioning your style of play to a new coaching style as well?
yeah, so I think, well, the coaches came right before I came in. So it was nice. Like they were learning and adjusting as well as us coming in. So they were trying to learn, and we were all trying to learn. But I think just on both ends, both of the coaches are very open to learning more and getting to know you as a person and player, and just here for the development of the individuals and the program as a whole. And I think that both ends have done a great job of transitioning into a new, really important role.
Now, what is your team's goals and expectations for next season?
Yeah, I think we, it's not that we want to be more competitive in our league, but we want to be able to put some of those close games away. And I think we want to have it'll start with a good team culture outside of the rink. I think that's just been a huge thing for us is action over talk. So we all talk about what we want to do, but just putting it onto the ice and off the ice and just being um, a good group.
So we're now in a segment I like to call the non-hockey segment, where I ask you some non-hockey questions just to get to know you a little bit more off the ice. First one is, what is your guilty pleasure TV show?
I'd say this is kind of weird because I usually have to watch TV to go to bed, but the TV I watch is like action packed, and I watch like kind of like superhero, like vigilante kind of shows. I like watching The Flash and Arrow, which are
Hmm.
like I just like keep rewatching them. And also I like New Girl too. That's like a not more guilty pleasure, but like
Yeah.
that's a good one.
I watched one episode of The Flash. I'm trying to sort of, it's off season, so there isn't any hockey going on. So I need to find some ways to entertain myself during the downtime. And I watched the first episode, it was pretty good, but I didn't realize there's 9 seasons. So it's going to take me it's going to take me a while to get through all of it.
Yeah, the ninth season actually just came out.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't gotten to watch that. I watched like one episode, but I really like that show, and I've rewatched it a lot. And I think Arrow's really good too. If you It's on Netflix too if you have a chance to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. I'll definitely watch it. And once I'm finished with The Flash, which will be a while. So, but
Yeah.
the first episode was good. So I hope the rest of the season is as well.
Yeah, and there's some crossovers actually between the two. So
Okay.
you'll
Nice.
see. You'll get a
Oh,
little taste of the Arrow.
all right, all right. Well, I'm excited. I think he was in the first episode actually. If it, I don't, it was like he was went back and he to him to like get advice on what he has to
Oh
do.
yeah,
He
yeah,
wasn't like
yeah.
used to being a superhero because it's first time with the powers. So,
Hmm.
I think I'm pretty sure that was him if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, with like the hood on. He's
Yeah,
a green hood.
yeah. All right. Next non-hockey question is, what music do you like to listen to?
Honestly, I'm pretty all over the place. It depends on my mood. I'm very into like pop and like hip hop music, especially before I play. I've been liking indie music when I'm just like doing work and stuff. And I've been trying to get more into country because I'm not that into country, but I've been listening a lot to like Morgan Wallen, and I went to a Zach Bryan concert actually last week in New York, which was really fun. But just picking the songs that I like, I just keep listening to them over and over.
Yeah, I'm a big Morgan Wallen guy, so I would consider that country.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I heard Dartmouth women's hockey is a huge Taylor Swift like fan base. Is that true? And are you into Taylor Swift?
Well, we had a lot of people go to the concert, her on her tour. I am I would not say I'm like a huge fan, but I like a lot of her songs, but I haven't been like following her through her whole
Yeah,
journey. But
I
I
get
like
that.
she has so many songs. I don't know most,
Mhm.
like I know most of them, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, what would the perfect day look like for you?
Well, I'd definitely sleep in a bit till like 11, make myself a nice omelet. Then I'd it'll be like a fall morning.
Hmm.
I'd go on a hike and then rollerblade and then definitely got to go to the rink. Um, and then after go on my lake, which is right down the road, go on the kayak and sit on the dock and watch the sunset and then roast some marshmallows when I get home and then watch Arrow before bed
Nice.
and some
I think
hockey if it's on.
for me, it would be going to a game and then having dinner afterwards, and then maybe a walk around the city. It would have to be like a matinee game because I like those a lot because it's fun watching a game and then having the rest of the day to do whatever you want to do. So that would probably be my perfect day in the
What's your
winter.
favorite team?
I'm a huge Bruins fan from
Oh
Mass, so
no.
I'm sorry, but I got my heart broken last year. So you
Yeah.
anything that you say, I kind of understand. It was a good season, but it didn't end the way
Well, I
obviously.
feel like whoever wins the President's Trophy never
Exactly. That's
ends
why I
up,
was sort
it's
of
a
like,
curse.
yeah, I wasn't celebrating it like other Bruins fans were, and
No, it's and they won it by a lot.
oh, it was the
Which was
best
it was
regular
like,
season in NHL history.
yeah.
But honestly, I would trade that whole season away just to win a cup.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not really worth it. I know some people like it, and now they're up against the cap because they went all for it last year. And we'll see. I hope they can bounce back from it and maybe do better in the playoffs. But really just been a tough few months, I guess, if you're a Bruins fan like myself.
Honestly, and the Rangers too. We haven't been doing that great,
Yeah, but at
especially
least you have like
mostly
draft
been the
picks
playoffs.
and cap space a little bit, which I don't
Yeah.
think the Bruins have that much of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got a first round pick, which was nice. But yeah, I definitely, if I had time, I would go, if like the Rangers were playing, I would go to the Ranger game, take the
Yeah,
train in, and then maybe take the train in and then come back and then go to my lake like at night and then like
yeah.
watch the stars or something.
You
That'd be
can make it a
cool.
little unrealistic if you have to. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
a perfect day.
Or like go to the game during the day and then
Yeah,
come back and
exactly.
then be on the lake.
Next non-hockey question is who on the Dartmouth women's hockey team has the best style besides yourself, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I definitely got some good style. But I'd say honestly, two freshmen have been pretty good this year. Vanessa Stamper, she's got good style, always comes dressed to impress. Meredith Jensen has a very unique style, but it's very out there. It's very interesting. And then also Cece Bolby, she graduated, but she definitely had one of the better styles on her team. It's very like unique, but it's very her. And it's really cool.
Uh, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
I think I gotta stick to my guy, Henrik Lundqvist. And I say that because I think that it's really cool that, like we kind of talked about before, that he's still in the hockey world, but he's like in a completely different sector of it. So I think it would be cool to see, like, hear about like his hockey experience and like when I was a fan when I was pretty young, and then see him now and how he's just grown and like hear
Yeah,
about all of his experiences. I think that would be awesome.
he has like a podcast out. I remember seeing it, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
So
and he has a movie out.
yeah, he's doing everything now. But
He's really
it
doing
was a pretty good
everything.
podcast when I listened to one episode. I think it was with A-Rod. So
Yeah.
mine would probably be. I guess I would do Tom Brady just because he's had so much success and dealt with a lot of adversity. So it'll be fun to sort of hear how his perspective on it now, 20 years later. And then last non-hockey question is, what is the most interesting thing you've read or seen this week?
Um, we're actually reading a book for lacrosse. All of us were assigned to read a book over the summer, and it's called Relentless. I forget who the author is, but I was actually reading a chapter today, and it was talking about how it's impossible to train your body or like your physicality without training your mind first. And I thought that was just basically summed up my entire college career because dealing with COVID and just dealing with the everyday stressors, it's so important just to be able to focus on hockey and just focus on your mental health and your physical health before focusing on anything else. So I think just being able to take those strides is something that I've prided myself on just to grow, and I think that's definitely helping me become not only the person I want to be but the player that I want to be.
For me, it's basic answer NHL draft. It was interesting to see what happened. Kind of boring in regards to the trade aspect, but really cool to see some of the prospects go to certain teams. And yeah, I'll be. I hope Leo Carlson turns out to be good with the Ducks because I was kind of shocked that Fantilli didn't go there because I thought
I think everyone was.
him and Zegras would be a good duo. So I'm hoping Carlson
Yeah.
works out for them because for some reason I want Anaheim to do well because I think it'd be cool to have a Southern California rivalry between them and the Kings again, since
Yeah.
it hasn't been that way in a few years. So I'm hopeful, like I said, hopefully Carlson turns out good for the Ducks. But that was probably my biggest surprise of the draft.
Yeah, I remember watching it. It was, you could see everyone was just very surprised, and seeing like the tweets after that. It was
Yeah.
kind of funny. And also seeing Carey Price mess up that guy's name.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt bad for him because
I must
could see that happening to me too. Just
I
sort
would
of
feel
blanking.
so bad. I feel so bad if I was him, and also the draft pick.
Oh
Uh
yeah.
but I think obviously Connor Bedard, that was awesome. And I
Hmm.
think it's cool also because he's like a smaller guy, but he's like insane. Like
Oh yeah.
his build is just, and I've seen quotes from like Crosby and McDavid. They're like he has no flaws. Like, and he's such a at such a young age. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, it was cool seeing the college hockey guys go outside of Fantilli, like Wood from UConn to Nashville, and then BC is going to have a very big freshman class next year, as you're
Yeah,
aware, with the Rangers selecting one of those guys.
yeah,
Well,
definitely.
getting back to some hockey questions now for all the younger players listening to this podcast, what advice would you give them on what it takes to be a college hockey player like yourself?
Yeah, I think something that I wish I kind of put more of my mindset in is just having fun. And I know that's kind of cliche and that's not what's going to get you like the only thing that's going to get you to college, but I think that have if you're able to have fun, then the rest will come with it. And I think if you're willing to put in the work and if you're willing to um do the extra work and have fun while doing it, I think that you'll have success, and just making sure that you love what you do, or else by the time you get to college or by the time you're done with hockey, you'd regret it. And I just think that that's a really important step.
What should be done to help grow women's hockey from your perspective?
I think they're doing a very good job, like especially with the pro league and like keeping the like salary cap higher. But I think it's just all about the media these days, like the coverage. And I think that a lot of women's sports aren't covered enough or like appreciated enough. But I think it's growing by the month, let alone year. Especially if you see like the March Madness this year with women's basketball, it was like that just like put in so much media. And you have, if you have especially like guy pro players, or especially in hockey, like if you have NHL players talking about the women's game, then that would attract other people. I think it's just putting an emphasis on like the skill and how like good the sport can be and how
Mhm.
it's entertaining. And yet it might not be as entertaining and there's no hitting and stuff, which is what a lot of people like to see, but maybe figuring out how to change the rules.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on that. I also feel like women's hockey should try to be more creative and do some fun things, like maybe move when the tournament's going to be, get better Frozen Four sites, not putting them on college campuses all the time, and then trying to do different, unique things with non-conference series. I feel like a lot of the way things are run with women's college hockey, it's like the same thing every year, and there's not a lot of, I guess, creativity with how to market stuff and how to do different games. And I kind of wish they would do a better job with that because I know last year they went to Vegas and they had a little in-season tournament there. And I think they should do more stuff like that. I just think that'll be fun for fans and players to sort of be a part of and try to get the sport to grow even more.
Yeah, I think there's a couple tournaments over Thanksgiving, I want to say. I think there's one like Nashville, Vegas, a couple cool places that teams are invited to. So I think if there's more of that, that would definitely be interesting and something that could be highlighted in the media too.
They got to do a Ledyard Classic with your team. I know they do it
I
the men's,
know.
but they got to do
They
it
do
with
it with
your
the men's
team.
every year.
Yeah. I just think that'll
Uh
be a lot of fun. And you get to see new teams every year too.
yeah. That's the thing is like we see enough of like non-conference teams, but I think having like a tournament would be really cool.
Absolutely. Well, before we end this interview, any shout outs you want to give to your teammates, family members, or friends, and who should we have on the podcast next?
I definitely want to shout out my obviously Dartmouth coaches, hockey and lacrosse. I want to thank like Liz Leiden, Bill Maniscalco, my family, my dad, and especially just they come to every single one of my games, hockey and lacrosse, and they've been with me ever since they finally let me play. And then obviously all my teammates, they're on both ends of the sport, both sports. They're all great, and I've made lifelong friends at Dartmouth and at Loomis. And I think it would be interesting if you had Kenzie Batchelor or Annie King on it. I feel like they'd have some interesting things to say, some cool stories.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Jenna, for coming on the podcast. It really means a lot to myself. I appreciate you taking time out of your day doing that. And I wish you nothing but the best for next season for your senior year. And have a great day. Stay safe. And you're a great player. Just want to let you know that, but an even better person. So thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy that I came on it.